All righty. Are we good, Steve?
One moment.
Okay.
Okay, maybe get.
Very good. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Wednesday, 20 August 2025, and this is a regular meeting of the Waterville Valley Select Board. I am Rich Reed, the chair, and with me here today in person is Wendy Rathgeber, the vice chair. So we have a quorum, and attending by Zoom is our third select board member, Dan Bancroft. So quorum is done. So shall we just move to privilege of the floor? I see three people here. Would anyone like to address the board of something that's not on the agenda?
I would.
Sure, go ahead, John.
John Racine, I represent the WVAIA today, my other hat. And this is in regards to the parking for Coquet. I wonder if the board had a chance to discuss that.
We did.
Parking a couple
We
of
did.
cars there.
Yeah, we did, and we decided not to grant your request
Okay,
for parking on the street at that time.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry you didn't hear. We did that at the last,
Yeah,
we announced it at
Yeah.
the last meeting.
Okay,
We discussed and announced.
I might have been a bit busy.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Yes.
So I'm on the agenda, but I.
No, I think, why don't we move you
I'll
up?
Stay until item 9.
Yeah.
Mike Farrell, 20 River Road.
Yep.
I'm writing an article about the wigwag about the speed boards and how that was approved. And just to give you some history, in 2015, we had a warrant article for the speed board, and that warrant article failed. Didn't fail by much, but it failed. After that, we ended up getting the speed board that was coming into town, which I think works really well, because you're going from 50 miles an hour to 25. It's good to get flashed at and yelled at.
Mhm.
Since then, there have been 2 more. No warrant articles, they just show up. We have the fixed one, and then we have the mobile one. Mobile one is kind of a pain because it yells at you even when you're going 25. It really wants you to go below the speed limit. So I listened to the meeting last meeting, and the whole discussion around the speed board was where to place it. There might have been a previous meeting that I'm not aware of why we need it. I want to be able to share with our readers, why did we spend $4,000 on a speed board more than where are we going to place it? So that's my question. And
Dave's coming.
Okay.
I would think, yeah, if the
Chief is on the way.
Chief's gonna be here, because I don't see a lot of stops in town, so
Okay.
I'm
He's got all the numbers for
okay.
you.
Yeah. So, yes, the vote, the one time a vote was taking on speed boards was in 2015. That particular article is $15,000, 6,000 of which would be paid for by the state. And it was described as a radar-equipped school zone speed indicator. So it was meant to be put, I guess, somewhere near the school. So that you're absolutely correct. That was and it went down 31 to 35, failed 31 to 35. I'll let Chief talk to the numbers. But to get first to the question of how we came to the decision we did, the select board actually in the fall of 2023 discussed adding more speed boards. And after that discussion, the board decided to go with one speed board on Valley Road heading north. Something similar to what the speed board going south is, in the same general area. Basically, whatever would be best as determined by DPS between the guardrail that begins at the athletic club and the end of the guardrail, which is just short of Golden Heights Road. So that was the idea. For basically due to a misunderstanding, it was not it was part of the operational budget. That was the intent. So it wasn't a separate warrant article, like we had handled the 2 that are there now that you mentioned. It didn't happen in 23. So in 24, in the fall of 24, the select board again said, we made this decision and we would like to see it carried out. And so that was the background to it that you don't see in the meeting you referenced, the most recent meeting, which was, we made this decision, what's the status of getting the speed board? So that's why, as I said, you don't see much of a discussion. I'll let Chief talk to the stops and all. I mean, I can throw numbers at you. I'll let him throw the numbers, number of traffic stops, that they
Most
get.
interesting, I think, the traffic stops that are in town versus traffic stops that are on
Right,
Triple I Road.
right.
access
And for what,
49.
right?
Because the speed
Right.
limit's 25 miles an hour everywhere except for those two roads.
Right. So, and thank you for bringing that up too. That's the other issue. I mean, it's kind of related, and Dan and Wendy, please speak up if you'd like. We took a positive, the select board a number of years ago, I think it may have been in 2016, but 2015, lowered the speed limit from 30 to 25. One of the reasons that people travel so fast on Valley Road is that it was built for a 40, the sight lines, the construction and everything was built for a 40 mile an hour, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly, all those years ago. So because we wanted to continue to calm traffic, which has been an issue for some time, and because we wanted to support this idea of a walking town, and we were in the process, and one of the things that sparked another speed board was the road reconstruction we were doing. There were plans since haven't been carried out yet about Valley Road and doing, changing it. You see what we did on Snowsbrook Road, et cetera, et cetera. So the idea was to better ensure that the traffic is flowing at no more than 25 miles an hour. But we do have a very low, I think it's the lowest that the state allows. Is that correct?
That is.
25 is the lowest that we could have for a speed limit on our town roads.
And the other reason we went to the 25, I believe it was in 16, was to encourage the integration of bicycles more safely. within
Yeah,
our-
it had to do, yeah,
Yes.
especially with the, as I was trying
Yeah.
to say, with the multi-purpose path
Usage,
and
just
getting,
overall
and
usage.
getting the
Yeah.
adults, and we haven't been successful with this, and we're still struggling how to do this, but to get the adults on bicycles in the in the travel lanes. I believe state law allows that for 16, requires it 16 and above, but to allow children on bicycle, i.e. under 16, to stay in the multi-purpose, because as you may know, sometimes walking in the multi-use path, you gotta have eyes and ears 360, because some folks don't know that they shouldn't be zipping along really fast or going in and out of the delineators, which as kids, it looks like a lot of fun. I can understand that. So that was the genesis of this particular speed board. We're actually looking at several, but decided, because we felt there would be opposition in the town, to drop it down to just one on Valley, because we thought that was where the traffic was traveling the fastest, because of just the way the road was built and what people have complained about and what we've all personally seen. Chief, did you want to throw any numbers?
I can share, so to address Mike's first point,
Yeah.
is I can hand these out. There were some gaps in the way they were reported. We went to a new records management system, and it's not as easy to kind of squeeze out. If you guys want to share, or if you like to have one up here, I'll give one to. I got a couple here, that you can see. So that kind of fills in the first issue of the gaps that you were looking for. So go back to 2022, 698 stops, basically 14 citations, 2% we're getting citations. That goes up to 2.4 in 2023, and last year was 4.6. 652, 30 citations.
Excuse me a second, Chief. Dan, you should be getting you sent it via text. You should be getting a text with what we're looking at here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Chief.
So that fills it in. I did run the statistical report and the data is a little dirty just because sometimes the way one officer enters Route 49 and while one other officer enters the Triple I road, spelling mistakes, spaces, metadata in between the letters and the numbers, so what it basically, I can shake down like 2024, for example, and I'll happy to share this with you. Basically, Route 49 in 2024, 140 stops were on Route 49.
That's up to Triple I Road? Is that,
That's up
is that what you
to-
mean
yeah,
by
so that's-
49?
That's
So
up,
that would indicate of the 652 stops, 150 of them were outside of town.
No, we're inside
we're-
of town.
we're in town.
Say that again, chief?
So basically, a third of the stops are on 49, 2/3 of the stops are within town,
Right, okay.
all other roads.
Right, that's the way I heard it. 150 were out of town,
Mhm.
On Route 49, yeah,
and so that means that 500 were in town.
We're in
Sure.
town.
sure. That's a good approximation for anybody listening. That's kind of what the chart we're looking at says.
Approximately a third.
Yeah.
It just seems odd to me since I think
That-
I'm driving all the time and I think I've seen a stop once a year.
But
Yeah,
remember,
indeed.
Mike, that also includes Triple I
Right.
and Ski Area Road.
Yeah.
So it's,
So again, it's hard to actually,
Yeah.
so we can discount that for, as well.
But as
Somehow.
a
Yeah, but
different
you-
personal,
I've got the numbers here, well, to, share, this is the whole data, but I broke it off into the right-hand side where it actually breaks down per street.
but the point is, in town includes more than just Valley Road
Correct.
or just Snows Brook.
but
So-
as
You're
a,
talking
yeah,
Everything,
Includes
it
from-
includes West Branch.
West
includes-
Branch,
Yeah.
everything.
everything. And as a,
Tecumseh,
Yeah.
and the intersection, so sometimes the officers, if
Yeah.
it's an intersection related, say stop sign. Right. They will list it as Valley Road and Tecumseh Road, so not just Tecumseh Road.
Right.
So
Right.
it breaks the data out that way.
I think,
Also,
and
Wendy, you
yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
say
it's just as a different personal perspective, I've been in the place where we're at, across from the school for about almost 3 years now. And just in the little time that I'm there, because I'm working most of the time, but I've seen a good half dozen stops just from the front windows looking out on the
Yeah,
road.
this-
So,
So this data indicates
I can share that.
500 in-town stops.
Right.
365 days in a year,
yeah,
that would be a stop a day.
Yes.
Is that,
Or more.
well,
would you?
probably
would you
more on
agree
the
with that?
weekend, right?
Well, it fluctuates, the weekends,
Yeah.
midweek, depending on staffing, take for example today. I'm the duty officer, I haven't stopped anybody. Because I've been stuck behind a desk, for most of the day. On the weekends, each officer on a shift may stop 7 or 8 cars. But a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, depending what's going on, you may only see 1 or 2 stops within that time period.
but in addition, well, it's the peak, but in addition, you're not patrolling for speeders, right? I mean, you've got a number of other duties. So if there's an emergency, then that's gonna leave a gap.
Yeah, there'll be gaps, while we're handling emergencies or out of town on an ambulance call. or
Right.
any
So
of that
it's not
sort of stuff,
it's
too.
like a constant.
I don't want to take the whole meeting. I have the information. I've
Okay.
got. The only question that you brought up is it sounds like this is a phased approach that now brings 4 speed boards into Waterville Valley, but you wanted to have more. Is that still the case?
No.
So this is it.
Well, I mean, the
For the
board at
time
the
being.
time didn't want to go beyond one. I don't think there's anyone on the board pressing for another a speed board. No. It doesn't mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is it
As of
could,
Right now, there's no plans.
there are no plans,
Okay.
right,
That's what I was.
right. And that includes Boulder too. Boulder can be a speedway.
We're not asking
Yeah.
for any more.
No,
No.
we're not asking.
We're
for-
not, but conditions could change, so.
Okay.
Is that good enough
Yeah.
for the wig wag?
That's.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, Tim.
Yeah, I have another one, but go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Finish your stuff.
My question, the correspondence from Margaret Turner emails that signs, what's her thing? Because Patty has a question on the sign.
It has to do with the real estate sign that's at the intersection of Tea House Lane and Boulder Path.
So when we replaced the signs with the green signs, they were maroon. And there was a chance to auction them off and nobody came to the auction. So they were just kind of given away. So I know I have 8 of them. I actually have 10 of them. We hang them up around the house. It's pretty cool.
eBay?
What happens to the green
We
signs?
still have them, the wooden signs
Yes.
that we are replacing.
Yeah, what's the
We-
plan?
The plan is to inventory them and to
Yeah, we've talked
figure
about
out
it.
whether or
How
not
to,
we're
how
gonna
to
sell
sell
them,
them
auction
or
It
or.
seems
or
like a good
gift.
fundraiser.
So
or
it may be
perhaps
fun.
gift
Yeah.
to someone who's done a lot to the town.
Because if they were in the dumpster, I would have.
No, we did talk about this
Okay.
and that is the
Megan
plan.
is holding them.
Yeah,
And the comment is the new signs are beautiful. When they're spelled right.
Good. When we're correcting them.
I know. Okay, thank you.
right. Tim, yeah,
Yeah, I came today just, first of all, the Advent event that we're planning to do in Town Square.
Yeah.
I talked to Tara, she said that
Yeah.
it wasn't.
We're
So-
gonna talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to be here to make sure that I was part of the conversation as
Mhm.
it's happening on resort property.
I think the biggest thing is it's happening on resort property. It's part of your operation, right, within town square. That's what we needed the clarification.
Yep.
So,
So I
Well,
wanted, that was the original reason why
Okay.
I was coming in today,
Good.
but then, I watched last week's. Or 2 weeks ago,
Mhm.
whenever it was, the
Mhm.
select board meeting, and I watched the planning board meeting. And there's a lot of discussion about the food truck, and there's a lot of discussion about that permit.
Yeah.
And I just wanna make sure I set the record straight. I did go to the planning board. I was planning to have the conversation, as Mark called me the night before and told me to go to the planning board.
Yeah.
I met with Rich outside of the planning board meeting. We had a conversation about my perspective of
Mhm.
the ordinance, the select board ordinance and the planning board ordinances. And we had a good discussion. You pulled me out of that meeting.
Yep.
We had a discussion about it not being brought up at that meeting. So just to be clear, that's what happened there. And then we said we would handle it at the next select board meeting,
Mhm.
which I plan to come to.
Yep.
But then you called me and said there was not gonna be any discussion about it at the select board meeting, so I chose not to come.
Yep.
And then the last meeting, I
Mhm.
didn't hear from anyone.
Mhm.
And it was discussed, and it was not discussed with having any representative of the proponent of the application in the room. So I was a little bit frustrated
Mhm.
by that and how the entire system worked
Mhm.
according to that application. So I reflected on that, and I reflected on a lot of other things that are happening in town right now. And how we have a lot of animosity, we have a lot of hard talk going on, whether it's related to this or other issues that are happening. And I think that we need to work harder at breaking down these echo chambers.
Agreed.
I think we have a lot of echo chambers that are happening right now. And I think we really need to come together as a town. It reminds me of 10 years ago. It reminds me of very much of my first experience in this town in Corsica. And how that echo chamber really put a sour taste in my mouth. As being a newcomer to this community, and I can only imagine what anyone that's a newcomer is feeling right now. So I will do my part. I will do better. I will be at these meetings more often. I will try to stop watching them on YouTube, although it's super convenient. It's
speed it up, right?
It's much easier.
Yeah.
But I will do my part, I promise, to try to do better at communication with the board and try to do better at coming to these meetings more often. And I noticed that there was something on the agenda today that I think that I maybe can help out with the special use permit regulations. And want to hear more about that conversation. So I just wanted to come in and say that I plan to do better and hopefully we can, pull some of these echo chambers in together.
Great, I think we all agree,
Yes.
150%. With regard to your rendition of the events leading up to the select board's meeting, we're 100% correct. That's how it happened. If there was, if my shorthand of it gave a different impression, I'm here saying now that you got the wrong impression. Yes, we were talking and we did decide to handle it at the second select board meeting. I'm sorry that you weren't able to attend that
To
one.
that point, my version of it was that according to the ordinance, it's allowed in any zone. It's a food truck, it's not a restaurant, and it's not a lounge. So it's different than what is in the zoning ordinances, and the zoning
Right.
ordinances, I don't know if they really pertain to the solicitation, offsite solicitation, because I could
Mhm.
imagine that someone would call up and say, hey, Tim, can you bring the food truck down to my kid's birthday party? Set it up, I'll pay $500 and you can, charge
Mhm.
$2 for a taco and well, I'm gonna be charging for a taco, so I'm gonna need a solicitation permit for that. And it might be something you guys might wanna approve to allow for the 1-day use. Now, I agree, the thing that happened in Snows Mountain really does, I mean, that's a full summer of a food truck in one position. And I can see how that would relate, and your judgment, I think, is sound in saying that it's really a food service establishment, and looks like really what they were trying to get at in the zoning rules was about food service establishment, so
Yeah.
I'm not against that whatsoever, and I can fully see that, but it's a decision you guys have every right to make.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to make sure that we had communication back and forth on that, and that's what.
Yep,
that's what I
no,
wanna make
we're
sure we do.
all in favor of that. I did mention to the planning board at the last planning board meeting that we really need to look at this whole idea of food service establishment. We need to tighten up the zoning because we've been applying that restaurant and lounge in a certain way, but we should change the language if that's what we
Yeah.
meant.
And especially, we also tripped over, I mean, if you go back to the origin of
Right.
all of this, I was looking at a map that I have on my computer that overlays on my Google Earth that
Mhm.
overlays all of the zoning districts. And the map that I had didn't have the special zoning district.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I was unaware of this special zoning district, so I didn't even look to see if it was an allowed use at that time, so I
Mhm.
was completely blown away when it was, not allowed, that
Right.
was the origin of the story.
Right,
Yeah.
okay,
When you go a little bit deeper into it, you start looking at when that ordinance was put in.
Mhm.
And that was when BBTS was going through a lot of change
Mhm.
on their campus, and they were looking at putting in new dormitories.
And that's
changing the-
why we had those conversations.
Exactly.
They were renting the dormitories and there was, back and forth with the lodges and all of that. And
Which-
so there was a lot of background.
Totally makes sense, and
Yeah.
a lot of that didn't come to fruition.
Right.
And I do think
Right.
that Snows Mountain, having the food truck there, and I think Dan, you even agreed that that was a wonderful addition to the Snows
Mhm.
Mountain atmosphere to have that food truck down there, so I do
Right.
intend on trying to talk to
Yep.
the planning board more about the
Right.
possibility of allowing food service or being more specific of what type of food service they would allow
Yeah.
at that area, and also the retail. I didn't realize retail wasn't allowed in that zone,
Right.
and we've been doing retail at Snows
Yeah.
Mountain since.
I know,
Sure.
I know.
Right.
and- right.
So-
Right.
So, no, this particular issue identified several things that we need to tighten up on. So I know that's small or cold comfort to how this resolved for you. But we also need to look at our offsite. Matter of fact, Mark and I were talking about this with regard to Tara's project, the Advent.
Yeah.
That, that our offsite solicitation ordinance, it doesn't seem to handle things that we are experiencing, so we need to
Yeah, I feel like we're
do something
somewhat
about that
truncating.
too.
Yeah, we're somewhat truncating a few things that we
Right.
are doing business wise in this valley and trying to truncate into that offsite solicitation. I know a while back we
Right.
looked at doing event permitting, and maybe we need to.
And we
Well, that's
talked,
the-
that's what the agenda item is
Right,
today.
and-
So we'll get to that in a minute.
And we, and we are looking at all our ordinances this year. That was on our work plan, if you would, since the beginning of the year, or since the board was created, the new board was established in March. So I think we do want to look at that ordinance again, as well as including, or as well doing, zoning. And zoning is going to be big this year because there are a lot of state mandated changes that
Yeah.
the
Very
planning
cool.
board has to
Implement, yeah.
definitely look at. So it's gonna be a whole mess of them, and people are gonna have a lot of questions for sure. So
Great.
as I said, thank you for bringing the issue to our attention. And we will try to get these things tightened up in the right way, which doesn't mean eliminating food. It's just if the board wants to move to allowing certain type of food establishment in that special district, they can certainly work on that as a proposed zoning change for the town to look at. Yeah.
It is kind of funny, because that's what the Finish Line restaurant used to be.
Yeah, no, and we talked
That's the
about,
reason I
right.
thought
Yeah.
twice of it.
I know.
Yeah, no.
Well, even-
Restaurant there.
Quite frankly, even in 2012 and 2013, that was part of the conversation.
Yeah.
What do we do here?
Mhm.
But there were so many other BBTS related changes
Mhm.
that it
Took
came
the
out the
center
way
stage.
it came out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right.
All right.
Good. Anything
Yeah,
else
sorry.
from anybody? Nope. All right. Minutes review.
You have the July 23rd regular minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not sure if I'm doing this right, because frankly, I didn't look at them until yesterday evening. And I've got like a dozen different things I want to talk about.
Same here.
Do we want to I think maybe, Dan, did you have a chance are you the designated reviewer for these minutes?
I am.
And- To do
Which,
it.
let's see, July,
The July
23rd.
23rd, you
The-
did them. right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
okay, so,
So
we can,
just a couple of comments with respect to the minutes. What I've seen
Yeah.
since we've had some assistance with creating these is an improvement over what we had before, but it appears as though we're still using an AI tool to generate the bulk of them. And I'm having to go back and clean up a lot of simple things like random acts of capitalization, places where the AI tool's not pulling out the correct words. Like it had black and beach instead of black and beach,
Yeah.
for instance, in one place. And just sort of some random things like that. Now, I've spoken with Steve about this, and what I've recommended is that the person that we have doing the editing actually proofread what it is that they're passing on to me. Because a lot of these are caught with just a simple proofread. And I had assumed that that was going to be part of our,
yeah, that's what I thought.
I
the
mean-
person doing the minutes.
Yeah, we are paying that person to do it, so.
Yeah. So I've gone through a couple of sets of minutes now. I would say in general, they were better. They're not quite as lengthy as they were before. They're much more abridged. And so I think that that's a positive improvement. So we have a couple of sets now, I think that we have to
We-
approve.
Yeah, we have the
And-
23rd, which was distributed yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday?
Day before you.
The day before
23rd,
yesterday.
that's-
And
So,
then
so.
we still have some
I think-
housekeeping here to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
on the housekeeping side,
Yeah.
what we can do is we can take for the set of minutes that the designated board member reviews, and we can send it to the entire board so that if you find that list of things,
Mhm.
we can incorporate those comments in. And we'll find a way to do that via email, so you don't have to do it during board time. I think we are not using AI. I think that the changes that you see evolving is because of more experience from the person doing the minutes, right?
oh, well, that's okay if we're not using AI,
No,
it just looks like it from what I've seen.
It's not, and I think it's a learning process with the new person,
Sure.
and it's getting better, I hope. And that's what I'm seeing anyway. Would you agree?
I don't have concerns.
Yeah.
I think she'll be able to over time.
Yeah.
Pick it up and.
Yeah, and so if the single board member reviewing is not picking up everything, all of the edits that you guys want to make, we'll just get you a copy of the first edit that is made by the board member, and we will worry about that. We'll incorporate your comments or come up with a system for letting everybody know what everyone's comments are, so that we don't have to spend a whole lot of time during board meetings.
No,
I mean, I thought what we were gonna try to do was that one board member would do that, but that the select board, the other two members will get an opportunity to
Well,
review
that's what I'm
them.
saying, we will do that.
Yeah, and just that, so but we got a electronic copy this afternoon that I haven't had a chance to look at.
Well, no, you got it on Monday. You got
There
it
was-
on Monday afternoon.
there was another-
It's in the packet.
Was there another one that came out? I didn't look.
810?
No,
I shared one copy of our site tour that we had yesterday afternoon with you.
Oh, the
Rick.
That's a
donation
planning.
ceremony.
Yeah,
Yes.
just because
No, it was the,
Dan
Yeah.
was not there and I
right,
figured,
summary of the Britton Lane, okay.
Yeah, that was the
It,
special.
it was listed as draft minutes, so I just thought there was another one hanging.
Yeah.
The one we got as part of the package and.
That was the one
And
we
then there's
had.
another one here. June 10th, is that? I
there
don't-
would be
that's been approved.
June.
This has been approved? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, we're still
So-
working.
Yeah, one of the things we had in the procedure, by the way, was that the way it was written, at least, was that, if you will, I would do an initial review because I'm the first set of reviewer here. And then you guys would provide comments that would be made during this meeting, during the meetings. And I thought that was, if you will, a bad idea because it takes up too much time.
Yeah, look how much time we
But
spent.
that's how the procedure was written.
All right, well, we'll change.
So a little bit about things. So I get a few days after the meeting, I'll get something from Jen. Typically, it will say I have to coordinate some changes with Steve. And then a few days later, I will get something again from her saying that she's incorporated, she's spoken with Steve and made the changes that she needed to make.
And then.
So then
we-
I will take that and that becomes the first input for the changes that I
That
make.
sounds like it's working well. It's just the time between that and the rest of the board getting an opportunity to
Yep.
comment. That's all.
Yep. And it hasn't helped, to be honest with you, that I've been sick as a dog the last few weeks. So,
Okay. All right, so why don't we go ahead and just table
Yep.
the one set of minutes that we do have, and we can get comments separately to Steve. I don't have a set of minutes separate that I can reply to because it's incorporated
Right.
into the package, so we just send you separate email, Steve,
That'll work.
with
Yep.
the line number and the comment.
Yep.
Okay, is that good?
That works.
All right. New business.
None.
There doesn't seem to be any new business. Let's see. Okay, let's move on to old business. So road projects update.
Yep, so you have two written updates from HEB engineers, one on Boulder Path Road. Status of their work there and the Snows should be Mountain Road project. Nobody caught me on that. So the both of those design design work on both of those is going well. They are on schedule to have the bid documents prepared for Boulder Path Road, so that we can ensure that the money that we have appropriated is sufficient prior to town meeting next year. And we can get that under contract in time to begin work next year. On the Snows Mountain Road, they are on track. You can see in the report that their preliminary designs are due next month, which will give us time in the budget process to prepare warrant articles for both the roadway reconstruction and the water sewer upgrade.
So we're
So
on track.
they are on track.
Great.
For existing projects, we have completed everything. The road striping is the only outstanding thing. We are on their schedule for the next, I think it was the first week of September, and weather dependent.
Yeah. Just around the corner.
It should be done very soon.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyone have any comments on the road project?
And the chunks of asphalt are still kind of around, are those in the process of being picked up?
It's on her work plan.
So it's not part of the paper?
No, it's not part of the paving contract. It's staff.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on then to the 4 July 2026 fireworks contract and the eye-watering
I'm,
cost.
I'm going to, submit a request to the WVRA for assistance and funding. This is a 1-year spike
Yeah,
in
it's a
price, right?
well,
Yeah, we
hopefully,
hope.
yeah.
Yeah, they're claiming, so for folks listening, the firm we contract with for the fireworks has raised the cost from what, 13,000 last year to 20,000 for this year, to 20,000 for 2026, since a higher demand, it's 250th birthday. So yeah, that is eye-watering. I mean, pre-COVID, we were what, 8,000 for the show, and now we're looking at 20,000, hopefully just for 1 year. That's at least how they presented it. Now, Mark, you've talked to them, and what's the latest we can, if we were to go ahead and approve this, that we can get out of it?
April
April. So we're talking
of
about
next year.
of next year. So
Yes.
we're talking about this amount of money. I think this is something we should put in front of town meeting. $20,000.
And I will have time in the meantime to submit a request to the Resort
And that,
Association.
yeah,
for
that warrant
funding,
article
and
can
It can reflect.
reflect.
Do you want
that.
a separate warrant article?
I think so.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if
I mean, it's 20,000, but I think we're
Well, what's
in
the
that
alternative?
range.
It gets
None.
shut down?
Yeah.
Then what?
nothing.
So that's a tough warrant article to have.
Well,
This is the do or die. Either it passes or there's no fireworks.
we will, we can discuss further whether to move ahead with it. But I don't know. It just seems to me it's $20,000 is a lot of money.
Has
For,
has anyone discussed drone?
I think Wendy has looked at it.
Well, I think they're significantly more. I think it was Mark actually that looked at it, hot
Ah.
potato. But.
Okay, over to Mark. Mark, I think you've looked at it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it would be significantly more, it would be significantly different. I don't think that we should just say, okay, we're gonna go with drones for 2026. Because it's not gonna be any less than, it's gonna be more than the $20,000.
How
So-
much are the fireworks?
Normally they're
Last
about
year was 13.
13.
Yeah, and it's gone up from
And
8.
It
It's
is
pretty much
just-
doubled since
Look,
COVID. That's right.
This increase to $20,000 is because their demand
Sure.
with the 250th birthday of the country has gone through the roof. We need to enter this contract or not. There are clauses in here that we can get out of it up until the end of April of next year.
With no
So,
penalty or
With no penalty.
no penalty.
And we can get out of it actually up until the end of June. If we waited until June, it would be 10% of, so it'd be
couple
$2,000.
So-
So they're just trying to set their schedule up. The other part of this that we need to consider is if we get out of their rotation, right, by not having anything, period, then we're gonna be out of their rotation, and if there's a spot available, we'll be able to get back in the rotation. So
Yeah.
that is a consideration going
But I
forward.
would think we should just move
But-
forward with it. Sign it,
I think we can forward to it,
Sign
yes.
it.
Right, and then we can
let's work
discuss,
it out.
when we usually
Work on
discuss warrant
fundraising.
articles in the
Well,
fall, we,
and
Yeah.
We can work on fundraising.
I-
Okay, we have those.
we may be able to
signs,
knock
you
it
know.
We
Yeah,
do
yeah.
have those road signs. We
Chief
can
Norris?
put that towards it.
It's always been in the operating budget
Yeah.
and perhaps that it'd be better suited within the budget discussions that
Mhm.
we can put it there rather than a warrant article.
Right.
And people can have their input, certainly through the budget.
it could be
process
part
and
of
the
that,
operating.
right? If, especially if it's known. Dan, any comment on this?
Well, I think at some level, we gotta stop the bleeding. We can't just keep spending and spending and spending. I'm not in favor, if you will, of this contract. I mean, it's a lot more money. It's not 10% more, it's not 20%, it's roughly 50% more, and that's a lot of money. And as I've gone around town and talked with folks about a variety of issues, the one thing they're complaining about to me is all the money we spend. And where's the accountability and such? So from
Okay.
my perspective, I'm not in favor of approving something that's, if you will, 50% more than we spent in the past.
But
Okay,
if we
That's
sign,
my personal opinion.
yeah, if we sign the contract to move forward, we can still do the fundraising and try
right,
to
we
get
can
that
see how much we
lower.
can, right,
And
so even though
might
it
be
does
able to
cost
fund.
20, we may not, the town may not be paying
Exactly.
all the 20, so I do think it makes sense to go ahead and sign the contract.
Yep.
Yeah, Tim,
My hometown, Traverse City, Michigan, huge tourist town, does 2 fireworks shows in a week during the Cherry Festival and 4th of July. They came across this issue where the fireworks become prohibitive, and they started a Boom Boom Club, which is actually a 501c3 nonprofit that raises money for their fireworks celebrations. Just something to think about. We do have a lot of nonprofits in this area, and we might want to talk about that. And for the 250th anniversary, maybe we can actually do a little better than this even.
sure. And actually, we had scaled back the show. We didn't get usually the top show this past year. One for safety concerns, well, actually for safety concerns more than anything else. And it's going to become an issue because of the build out underneath the fire. It's going to become an even greater issue as all this area is developed, whether or not we can hold fireworks at all in that area.
Right.
That's something we haven't really addressed because we've been busy with other things,
Sure.
frankly. All right, no, so I think since there's no penalty until April, it makes perfect sense to go ahead and sign the contract. I'm with Dan, I think, on this, maybe not as hard over, but it is a lot of money, but let's go ahead and sign the contract and then decide how we're going to approach paying for it. If we can knock the price down,
Yeah.
all's the better.
Yep. Good.
Okay. Special use permit regulations. This is our Dracula zombie. I don't know. It keeps on coming back every so often. So we're just following up again. Actually, this was an ordinance change back in 23, I think it was. And where the zoning ordinance was changed and basically the town at town meeting, and basically the town said to the select board, you guys figure out how to operationalize this. I think that's a quick summary of what they said. So we have been struggling with it off and on when we've had an opportunity to deal with it. Trying to deal with this idea of a special, as it's noted in zoning, special recreational and entertainment event. There is no definition of that in zoning ordinance. It's not one of the definitions, but it is in the use table. And it is an accessory use, or you can request a special exception from the ZBA in, I think, 4 zones. Pretty much everything except
Except
Five
HDR
zones.
5 and LDR.
HDR.
Right.
Greenbelt.
Right. So we've been struggling trying to figure out how we can follow through on what the town voted on for zoning. And I think, Chief, you've been working on this permit, really checklist is one way to approach it. The question is, do we need a definition, or is what's in zoning of special event, or is in zoning enough to build a checklist around without having to go through the whole, the big issue at the planning board is it 50 people? What's the triggering event for a special? What's a triggering number for a special event? And the planning board basically punted because it couldn't come to an agreement what that be. Even though we looked at a number of different towns, they all have different numbers associated with such a thing.
Well, and also there was the concern that what happens if that event doesn't meet that threshold, then
Right.
then what is it? And
Yes.
is it not allowed
And
to
we have,
happen? Worst
there
case
is that
scenario.
gap,
It's
if you
like,
would,
yeah.
in our ordinances on that. So I don't know, Chief, you want to say anything at this point, or should I just continue to
So
blather on?
that's the whole crux where this kind of fell apart, is because without a definition, I I don't feel that I'm the person that is supposed to determine what fits in that category. So traditionally, when we changed the ordinance, it was a street use ordinance, so any event, it was mostly races
Mhm.
that impacted the road.
So
within
public-
Waterville
public-
Valley, you had to come get a permit for bus.
Public roadways.
Yep, that affected the public roadways. This was a growth to that where it encompassed not only just the use of the road, but the actual events themselves. And in looking at that, it addresses, do you need police, do you need traffic, do you need?
Right, the life
It
safety.
does all the life safety
Issues,
stuff, if
right.
there's food being served, as far as the health officer part of it, are all those conditions, being met? Again, we struggle with what is a special event.
Well, let me just read what the article says that was approved. Again, it may help us here. So basically it says this article is to clarify that the intent of the ASE category, accessory use special exception category in the use table is to allow some additional activities as accessory uses in order to augment existing businesses or residential complexes. And then it goes to change the language. I think that's not an issue at this point. And then it says, select board, you go ahead and put together regulations to make this work. So I think we have a definition, or at least an approach. It's not a permitted use. It's an accessory or SE use. So right away, we can make a distinction
Mhm.
what this is.
In saying that it's kind of anything.
Well, it's anything that's allowed
Well, yes.
as an
anything that's-
accessory use or with a special exception from the ZBA in those
Right.
5 zones. So I mean, I know we're struggling. Is that enough? That's been the problem. But that does narrow it somewhat.
If
Go
you
ahead.
look at the language under the use column,
Yep.
it says special recreational and entertainment events,
Mm-hmm.
including but not limited to ski races, bicycle races, and outdoor concerts.
Mhm.
That is exactly what Dave was just talking about. Historically, those have been the events where
Right.
we had staff meetings, we had coordination of special details for public safety, road closures, public works getting involved with putting up sawhorses or whatever. So if we left it at that, it would be just the historical events that we've always coordinated. I think that was probably the intent without going back and watching the 2023 meetings and listening to all of the discussions that happened. Those were, and the concerts, those were the other types of things.
Well, yeah, but it's including but not limited to.
No, I understand that.
So,
In the not limited to, you
Yeah.
go into Black Fly Triathlon, the Black Bear Duathlon. Again, special, not not a
Right.
primary use of the property,
Right.
but secondary to the businesses that are
Right.
there or the resort or
Right.
whatever.
I
I
think
don't think
that's-
it's complicated.
Well, that's what
I
I'm
think-
trying to, I think
Yeah.
we're in that way. But
But
it's
this,
outdoors too. I mean, that also seems, it's an outdoor event.
yeah, and we have a
Right.
checklist of all of the things that we would normally coordinate when we have a staff meeting
Yeah.
about them.
I think
And we
the
just
checklist
go
is very
down
good.
the checklist, and if it is something that is a question, we can bring it in for a public discussion. But I think most of these are events that we've always handled.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything you would do?
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is, I am approached occasionally for outdoor events on Packard Field. I mean,
But that's
That's
a
town-
rental,
that's
that's a
town-owned.
rental of town-owned property.
Right.
So I don't see that as really a special event. And it wouldn't
well,
be
it's
in
the
this,
event has been on Packard Field for multiple
Well,
weeks.
then that
would have
is
been
something,
Something that.
Right.
maybe.
Well,
yeah.
the idea was to try to what we're most concerned about, I think, was the life safety issues, health issues, and what would trigger that without having to come up with a number. And that was where this planning board had difficulty with. It was coming up with a number.
Anything that they do, whether it's temporary, whether it's tents or temporary structures or anything
Mhm.
with that, life safety code still trumps everything.
Right. Right.
We still do those inspections, they still have to make sure that they meet all those codes.
Right.
I think where we come in is it affecting on-street parking? Is it
Yeah,
affecting
other
the roads?
ordinances,
Is
other
it affecting
town,
the roads? Do they
other
need to
town
shut a road down
ordinances.
somewhere? Is there enough, on the health side, is there enough porta potties to support
right,
the amount of people
Mhm.
that are gonna be at this event? Those sorts of things is where this would come into.
Right.
If we need traffic control, do we need a detail officer because, we need someone at Triple I Road because they're navigating the corner or the course is gonna be,
Yeah.
going through there. Those are the sorts of things, those are the types of events that we would look to, put to use
Regulate.
for these
Right.
kinds of things, that we have the organizers come in, they meet with us for 20 minutes. They give us the synopsis of what's going on, the who, what, when, and where, and we say, okay, have a nice day.
Right.
but that requires them coming, I mean, that's the issue, right? That's how we find out about, it's how you find out about it.
Well, I think the message, go ahead, Dan.
Can I ask a couple questions? We have things like, a chili fest and cook-offs and stuff like that we have. Are those considered special events?
They have not been in the past. No,
Okay. Would they be under this once we do this?
no.
Okay. One of the questions I had to do with the public safety health information section, number 5 in here, where we talk about whether food sold at an event. And let's say the answer is yes. The question I have is whether the person or the vendor or whatever would have the ability to keep food at safe temperatures. Because I don't see that in here. It just asks whether food handlers have a way to wash their hands and whether we have restrooms. And that seems like a safety issue. So I would maybe recommend amending this and adding something to that effect.
It's already covered by state law.
Yes.
So
Their food
that's
service
not it's not a town regulatory thing. They will
Okay.
do that under the state law already. So what we would do is just make sure they comply with the state law requirement.
Basically, Dan, when we look at food trucks, we make sure that they have their food service license, that it's
Right.
current. Okay, and as long as their food service license is current, it means that the food health inspector has been there
Yeah.
and has signed off that they have met all of the requirements.
Yeah, I was referring more to sort of an informal special event, if you will, not necessarily food trucks.
Well,
Yeah.
as an
A
example,
large gathering where they're going to be serving food, etc.
usually you have a caterer or
It's being sold, yes.
a professional organization. As an example, the Black Fly Triathlon would have one of the restaurants in town square provide food for if there was going to be hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever.
Okay.
something like that. So what would happen in the past is the organizer would say, in the past, Legends will provide hot dogs, hamburgers. That would be under Legends food license. So
Okay.
we would just make sure And then if they came to us and said, we're cooking hot dogs and hamburgers, then we could potentially say, get a professional caterer or somebody who has a food license to provide it, if it's a big enough event.
'Cause
You know.
Okay,
Well, you
Yeah.
guys, what we're talking about could just trigger something for the gazebo sachet, which is just a potluck with 100 people, right? What happens?
But we have never we have not historically, that's why I say going to the wording that is currently in the zoning ordinance, which what was adopted in 2023 would exempt the sachet, right? Because it's not one of these special
Right.
events or similar
So,
to that.
I'm saying this mostly to Dan, because
Yeah.
it seemed like we were triggering something if he was.
I don't think we need to do
gonna
that.
end
No,
up being part of the
there's a
ordinance.
difference
It might
for
trigger
selling food to the public.
Right.
Yes.
Selling
Yeah.
versus.
Yeah.
donating.
Commercial, it's a
Yes.
commercial use. Right, I mean, there are three things we're trying to capture here. I mean, that's what the intent of the planning board was, and we're still struggling with it. One is zoning ordinance, compliance with the zoning ordinance. Can that activity happen on that particular land? Second is to comply with all other town ordinances. In particular, I mean, this came up really because of a noise ordinance issue. But parking as well, which is actually part of zoning. And third, is to comply with state and federal laws. So that's what we're trying to capture with this. Those are the three things. I think approaching this application as a checklist, without a definition, I think the zoning kind of carries the definition. It's an accessory use or an SE use.
Mhm.
So that's the first door you got to go through. And then you go from there. There are events that would not be considered a special event by this, but there would be health and safety issues or other ordinance issues involved. And we're trying to capture those in this one checklist too.
No, well,
Well, are we? Okay,
I've
yeah,
just heard a lot of conversation about the fact that like the Chili Fest or the Charter Fest and things like that wouldn't be applicable here, but I actually think the other way. I think we need to let safety know what's happening, and we do ops plans for all of those. They're all
Right.
prepared years in advance. I mean, it's
Right.
pretty much rinse and repeat. So for us to issue that and gazebo sachet, honestly, I think we should be telling, hey, we're planning to have the gazebo sachet on this day. It tells the town when we're doing it and it lets everyone know that this is happening. And I remember the conversation we had years ago
Mhm.
about this, and I'm not against any of that. Just because I think it's opens communication, lines of communication, to make sure
Yeah.
everyone knows what's happening.
but as far as a formal application though, I think the message to the community is if you're planning an event that's gonna have a lot of people, an undefined, but a lot of people at it, right? Call and say, hey, I'm doing this event. Do I need to fill out the checklist?
Right.
And
Right, I
Dave
think-
can
right.
make a decision. On, yeah, you do, let's do a checklist so we have it on file. And like you said, you've already got plans, you can email them to him. Hey, Chowder Fest is
Yeah, you're
2
talking
weekends
real-
away. You know, try to give us a couple of weeks notice or more
Yep.
so that we can complete the application. I really don't, I don't think this takes a big thick
No.
regulation.
no, I don't think
this-
anyone's arguing for
this,
that. I think we're just trying to,
checklist is,
we're trying to get to what
I just
Tim
think
was
we might be
saying.
overthinking
Yeah.
it, Because from an organizational standpoint, we have these plans and
Yeah.
we're happy to share them and we send them out to all of our employees.
well, I'm not really
But-
worried about
Well,
you
yeah,
guys.
No,
I'm worried
yeah,
about
there are others,
the
though.
The
other-
other point that I wanted to make was you said quantity of people, and I mean, I had absolutely nothing against this event. This
Mm-hmm.
event was wonderful. But the adaptive program on the roads last weekend
Mhm.
was some of the most chaotic things I've
Yes,
seen.
it was.
And it would have really helped
Mhm.
had we had better communication about how that was going to work and how we could have worked that. So,
Yeah.
and that wasn't a lot of people, and it was an awesome event. I mean, once again, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. But to have better communication there, I think could help, and quantity of people may not be the thing you actually want.
No, that's why
No, we
that's why
don't
we,
want to.
that
That's
was the
why.
issue with
Yeah.
it, but temporary instead of special event, maybe what we're looking at.
Yeah, and I
So-
think that's what you get caught is these one-time event, these
Yeah.
first-time events.
Yeah.
or these early events that we're used to Charter Fest. And I think that's a lot on us that we've been here so long,
Mhm.
that we automatically know what to expect for Charter Fest. When I look at my schedule, do I need to staff up for this or do I not? Can I keep it, status quo for these regular
Yeah.
events? Yes, we know what to expect, but these first time events, adaptive, that's the first I heard about it was on Monday.
Oh,
After.
And,
it
and see,
happened.
and that's the
Yeah.
hole in
Yes.
our, that's
Yeah.
the hole in our ordinances / regulations / zoning. There's nothing that requires
well,
or at least
communication.
suggests.
I mean, I can't imagine anyone with adaptive was trying to not comply with this. It just slipped through the cracks and
Well,
how do we
or-
communicate?
So what if
Did
we
they
did
even think they had to do it?
What if we
Right.
drafted something for the wigwag? That is, hey, we have a checklist for special events. If you're running an event that is out of the ordinary, that is, something that's in addition to the regular commercial operation of a facility, contact
Yeah.
Dave Noyes.
I do think we have
You
to
know.
back that up though with some kind of language, either in the checklist. Doesn't have to be a full-blown regulation. And if we opened it from special, just temporary event. And then we can define that as an event, a short-term event, typically of 1 or 2 days. That will increase, that will involve undeterminate number of people. I mean, we can come up with the
Write
language.
it in the article about what types of events.
Well, I want it in our
talking-
regulations, though. I mean, I want it specified somewhere. Otherwise,
Well, it's the things that will be impacted that you want to capture, right?
Yeah.
So anything like when we did the minor site plan review, those were the things
Right.
that could trigger it. So
Right.
so you just want like a little list of things
Yeah.
that would trigger this short-term.
you could
event,
define it by a
whatever you
list.
wanna call it. Yeah. So
That's
if
doable.
if there'll be impacts on parking, traffic,
Well, there's the health and safety, but there are other ordinances like noise,
yes.
for example, on
exactly.
a concert.
Yeah.
So
So is this a permit or is this a checklist? We refer to it as a permit at the bottom of it, and we talk
permit.
about a permit fee.
Kind of both.
it's,
It was
And
up to the board.
yeah, I
to
mean, I
Implement it.
I think-
If you're gonna have a permit, then you're gonna need a regulation, because you've
Yes.
got to list
Well,
out exactly a process. If you wanna keep it just a checklist to coordinate so that we know what's going on, that is something completely different.
how do we enforce a checklist?
Well, I
We
think
don't
it needs-
enforce a checklist. We
But I
go-
mean, if somebody didn't do this, Mark, that was my question.
well, the enforcement comes at the worst possible time, especially for the person putting on the event, is when someone from code enforcement or DPS the day of while it's going on saying, you can't do that.
But what are they enforcing
And avoid that.
if we
Well, it
don't
could
have a
be-
regulation?
Health and safety, it could be zoning, it could be any state or federal law. So we're trying to get ahead of that. That was the whole intent of the planning board when this came up a couple years ago.
But that's why it is an application.
Yeah,
And we are saying checklist, but it is an application. Is that where
So
you're?
if it's an application, then you're really applying for a permit, which is how we refer to it at the bottom with the permit and the
no, I
permit.
mean, you have
That's been the
signatures
problem.
that you have
This-
a checklist.
I know it seems, the problem is not, you have to have a way to communicate to the community. If a person is planning on doing something, do they need to come into the town?
There
You
has to be a
know,
process.
And ask about it.
There has to
There
be a
has to be a
process.
process.
But we're talking about approval too.
Let's first set, what is the process we are approving? What are we
Well,
approving?
but it's just a two-step process. Anyway, Tim, do you
I
want to
just
say
think
something?
permit by notification might be a way to just get that first original piece of information that you're looking for, because that's
Yeah.
what I think you're looking for, correct, Mark?
Yeah,
You're just looking for that first piece of
contact us so we can
Contact
tell
us.
you if there's any
And
issue.
if there's no contact back, you're good to go. If there is contact back, then there's more questions that need to be answered.
That's fine, I think the level, if you wanna keep it, if you wanna keep it with the town staff to make these
Yes.
determinations.
That there's no intent for the select board
versus
to
If
be,
you want a full permit process,
no,
where
That's
that
not what we're looking
allows
for.
us, that then says we either approve or deny this, then I would ask you for a regulation.
Right.
okay,
If you.
maybe
if
we need
you
to
wanna
think about
keep
this
it
a little bit more.
Where town staff can say, hey, we would like to, have a special event review by the code enforcement office for any special event.
Mhm.
Here are the things that we're looking for. This is the information that we're looking for about your event.
Mhm.
And like Tim said, maybe if it's nothing, if it's like.
If you don't hear back from us,
you
you're
don't
good to
hear back
go.
From us, fine.
Yeah,
Come
Yeah.
Meet with us, we have
I-
questions, or
Right.
here's our concern.
I don't see why they wouldn't hear back from us, frankly.
Well, yeah, gotta hear back one way or
Yeah.
another, but
I mean, they should hear back, with no concerns, fine,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's the contact mechanism?
well, that's just it. That's what I'm saying is,
Because right now, their website says, I filled the form out, it said, if you don't hear anything back in 72 hours, call this number. I heard nothing back, I said email to Rich, because I happen to know Rich's email.
Mhm.
So
Usually.
if that's the process, not hearing back cannot be it's
No.
okay.
Yeah, no,
No,
I,
that's-
yeah,
Mhm.
I,
State laws made it now, so if you don't approve anything within 14
certain,
days, it's on.
it's automatic, yeah, they've done a lot of those, but a lot of,
that's state law.
a lot
Yeah.
of, right.
Mhm.
So I think we do want to get back to, I mean, the comment was made that we may be overthinking this, yeah, but I don't think we're looking for a full-blown regulation, I think we're just looking for a process.
Well, I know, but that doesn't give enough guidance for what you want us to do.
so
You
what do
either have to have an application process
Mhm.
or you don't. And you can't say, well, you guys just figure out if
No, we're not-
sometimes
we're-
we need an
We're
application.
not, I don't think we're saying that,
That's,
Mark.
well, but that's what you just said, Rich, in that we don't want a full-blown regulation. You either want a full-blown regulation or you don't.
Okay, well, I meant a complicated, complex, if this, that, if that, then this. I don't think that's,
So what
we're
would,
looking
what would
for.
help? If we had a regulation saying, if you're planning on a special event and
or a temporary
define it,
event,
or temporary,
because
right?
special is defined.
You pick up all the boxes,
Yeah,
different things, and if there's a certain number there ticked off, Dave looks it over and it triggers, then it could trigger a special event permit, but if not, it's something can be handled internally, then it just ends there and.
Right, but I was
So, yeah.
asking about what they want for a regulation. So because you're asking for a regulation, bottom line, right?
well, that's what the,
If we're.
Because that
going
would make it
to-
easiest. is what you're
that's what the
saying.
Warren
Types
article
of
said,
things, Then yes, I would need a regulation to
Right.
fall back on, because otherwise
yeah.
I have no
Yes.
authority to.
Right.
permit
So
anything.
so what type of regulation are you looking for from, I guess I'm just vague on that. I understand all the
The
different steps that we're
regulation
taking.
would be, what is the definition, what is the trigger to require a special
Mhm.
event?
And how do
Define
you
it.
apply
Alright.
it? How do
Establish
you
a
apply
trigger.
for it? 14 days in advance, you fill out this form
Yeah,
and it
I-
gets reviewed by
Yeah.
the code enforcement office.
yeah,
And, so you gotta lay all of that stuff out, but you
Mhm.
can't,
Okay,
all right,
short
well,
of doing that, I don't see any way to
no, I
to
think
do
that's
this
what we're,
consistently
I think,
sure.
over time.
I think the sense of the board is we want something like that.
So do you want us to come up with something like that, or is there something that would work?
Have
That's
been
true.
gathering.
Rec
a lot of
director?
surrounding towns, special use temporary permit applications. So I could go through those, I've just been scanning them through, and then I haven't been able to kind of look at them all, but we could probably find something that.
Yeah.
They're
A
all
short
very remarkably, they're all very
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
So there's no wonder that there's some confusion here, so I think if given some time, we could
Yeah.
look through those.
Yeah.
And see what we want to,
Okay.
Second
know.
meeting in September.
yeah,
Give
I
us
mean, we
some
got some, this is,
recommendations, we can look it over.
Okay.
all right, we can do that, I
But so
mean,
those include regulations, not just the
Staff.
applications?
yes,
Okay.
it's interesting, they
Right.
all have sort of a different one, some include like, you know, a big beefy application with all these different, you know,
Right.
sign-offs from, I mean, it includes a lot, so.
Right.
they're
Okay.
Brooke and I will look at that,
Okay.
Right,
look at what she's gathered.
with Dave.
Great.
We'll
Yeah.
talk to Dave and
see what
we'll
you come up with. All right.
something for the second meeting in September.
Perfect.
We did go through that at when the planning board working group was looking at this, and a lot of those regulations come down to a number triggering
Mhm.
the requirement for a temporary permit.
And we'll try to stay away from that.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was the issue that we weren't able to resolve. And I think the planning board was also concerned about sort of event that's happening in, I can't remember the town, where a farm is now hosting concerts
Right.
and serving food, and it's
The
gone all the
change of
way into
use
the
kind
courts.
of,
It's change
yeah.
of use, but they claim it's not a change of use because it's an accessory. I think we're trying to stay away from all that sort of legal.
Yeah, I don't think we
Stuff
need to make it
too.
that complicated.
No, I don't think
No.
so.
We can
I think we have
simplify
enough.
something.
I think we have enough here. We
Yeah.
just
Okay.
to put it into
We're-
proper
we're
wording.
Pretty used to the typical types of events that come here.
Yeah.
On a temporary or first time basis.
Yeah.
And it's clear we're talking outdoor, I think, because indoor is already regulated, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if they have a restaurant, it's got to have so many parking spaces anyway.
Yeah,
Per our
same would
regulations
be, you know,
and
with
state
the ice
law.
arena, for example, if they wanted to have something that's not hockey.
Right.
Yeah.
But that would come
Yeah.
to the town,
Exactly, worry.
well, I guess, except
Yeah.
for if they were to
Yeah, that's
purchase it,
that
right?
as a temporary event,
Yes,
right? Not necessarily as a special event.
No.
Because it's permitted to hold dry floor activities
yeah,
in the ice arena, so
yeah.
it wouldn't come under the special event, but just as a temporary event to cover the health and safety, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Second meeting in September, we'll continue to plug away at it.
Here,
Yes,
I wanna leave.
Mr. Fergal.
Can we jump down to the select board, school board joint meeting? Is that an acceptable date?
Oh, yes, sure. Are you guys okay with that date? It's the the 25th. It should be under
Yeah,
calendar review,
yeah,
Right.
7C, nine,
At
right.
this multipurpose room.
right. So that is an hour before your school board. See, I remember to get it on the agenda this time. Sorry about that again. So so September 25th, and we'll come up with some topics. Do you want to do it as we've done in the past? You guys want to pass anything to us, and we'll put together a written agenda? I think that's the way we've done it in the past. We'll add some stuff, circulate it, make sure we have everything we want on it.
You guys good with that date? That's-
Or-
Yep.
Yeah.
Work for you?
Is it okay?
It's like you might be out.
Yeah, that's fine. You can do it. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and
Thanks.
ink it in now. All righty. So, wastewater treatment facility project update. I'm looking at you, Dylan, and you're looking back at me and smiling.
I don't have anything really to update you on.
Okay.
No, we're doing good. Black and Beach is still working on their reports. No real changes. So we're doing well.
I didn't know if you want to take this opportunity to talk about PFM.
Oh, yes, and that's right. Well, it's actually in the
packet,
packet,
right.
right?
yeah.
Right, so
So this
yes.
would be fine, yeah.
this is, right, okay, let's do it.
So we, Dylan, Steve and I, had, the online, interview with a couple of the principals at PFM. One of the owner was one of the members, that talked to us. And then they have a consultant, I think, a third-party consultant that they work with on, specifically on water sewer rates and tax rate impacts and financial modeling. Ben, do you remember Ben's last name?
No, but he was internal.
He is internal
Yeah,
to them.
He's
Okay.
he's an advisor.
Yep, and so they have provided us with this proposed scope of services. We reviewed it with them. The recommendation, I think that I put in the memo is that we move forward with phase one, to have them do a model, which would take inputs like estimated project costs and those sorts of things. Take all of our financial information with our operating budget, other capital projects, and our current rate structure. We give them all of this information. They have modeling that can project for us future costs, taking into account inflation and that sort of thing, and give us some potential rate impacts, tax rate impacts.
Yeah, no, I think
and,
that's important.
Can they provide like a range of property values?
Sure.
Within which?
Yeah, I'm sure we can
We'd
ask
see.
them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be very comprehensive.
Yeah.
They do work in New Hampshire primarily with the city of Manchester on some of their large infrastructure projects. They're based out of Boston. The rate modeling, timeline is pretty aggressive. They said they could get to us if we move quickly on getting this proposal signed and have something for us for budget season.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be great, especially
Well,
in
they,
our effort to
yeah, I mean, they will produce
the info
the
out.
actual information by the end of the year.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why
Given
do
our-
you feel we need this?
I would they have experience doing this across not only New Hampshire, but across New England, across the country. I just think that this is what they do for a living. I would like to confirm what we are projecting for tax rate impacts.
And by we, you mean
And
you.
by me, check my work, Dan, okay? These are professionals who do this, and they can potentially give us strategies.
Right.
When is the best time to borrow? When is the best time to implement rate changes? Are there things we can do now to help alleviate impacts in the future?
There are
They-
other funding resources that.
There are other, they've told us that they work with EPA, WFIA on a regular basis. They have experience setting up the
Yeah.
loans through them and that sort of thing.
Sure.
They even have contacts for potential grant sources. So I think they will be a resource not only for the modeling, but also for future to help us in other ways.
And some of these funding, like WFIA.
Yeah.
The application process is very extensive.
Yeah.
And they said that the modeling that we're proposing to do under this RFP is required by WFIA. So if you're gonna get a WFIA loan, we're gonna have to do this anyway.
Okay.
So those are the reasons, Dan.
Yeah, I have a lot of concern about phase two costs.
Yeah, phase two, we talked specifically about that and they said they do not recommend that we engage them for phase two until we have further information. They
Even
agree.
then, I think the cost is
Well, and
extremely high.
yes, and again, that's one of the reasons why we would not do it at this point, because I agree with you. I choked on those numbers as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
But we can see how they are to work with phase one.
Yep.
And then we know.
And where they wrote in modifications to the model and they had that additional cost, they do not mean when project cost changes, they're going to stay under that one contract number, the
Okay.
first contract number.
1850
For-
or 18.5.
Yes, 18.5 for modeling for probably a couple of years, I got the impression, right?
I think the only thing that would really prompt another model was if we threw a whole different set of figures at them.
Yeah,
And they had to essentially start from scratch all over again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plugging in different specifics that are relatively close isn't going to make.
they do
isn't
those
going to-
tweaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll work too independently with our other resources, Black and Beach, that they'll work
Yeah.
directly with them.
Okay,
So we wouldn't have to, the town wouldn't have to facilitate in like a conduit manner. They can talk directly with them, they can talk directly with other vendors that we partnered with for this project too, so.
Good.
Which is nice.
PFM has done work for the bond bank
okay.
for not only the city of Manchester, but town of Derry, any entity that's bonded on their own. So they've worked with a lot of towns in New Hampshire. They're familiar with our tax structure. They're, you know,
In New Hampshire.
so,
The other thing that they did offer to us as well is that they could be available for public meetings if we asked them to be there to speak about the financial modeling that they.
do, so they can
Okay.
explain.
I did think it was odd that their case studies that they showed were in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania, but they have an office in Massachusetts, right?
They
And
do.
that's who we'd be
Boston.
working
Yeah,
with?
yeah.
Okay,
That was one of their most recent projects that they worked on.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
Very, from what they alluded to us anyway, it's very convoluted path of what
Okay.
And what I liked about it was they're talking about small communities and helping them with large projects, which is
that's.
where we
nice.
are,
Yeah.
so.
Very large projects.
Yeah.
Very small.
Very small
Any
communities.
other concerns, Dan, other than the phase two?
Well, let's see. Uh, They comment about fees for services at the end there. Necessary, reasonable, travel, meals, lodging, telephone. And they don't really have any cap on any of that. I don't want this to just escalate out of control.
That was
Well, no,
phase
there
two.
is,
I
there is,
mean, we
a-
don't have,
there is a cap on phase one.
There's a cap of 18.5 on phase one.
and that includes everything.
That would
Yeah.
include everything. They talked about coming
There'll be a
here.
firm fixed price contract.
Yep.
All right, any other comments on it?
Mm-mm.
No,
I think phase one looks appropriate.
So you need a motion from us to approve the proposed contract or scope of.
No,
proposed scope.
yes, if you can approve the amount not to exceed
Exceed
18.5
18.5, the phase
Yeah.
one, basically.
for phase one.
For phase one of the
services.
proposed
Yep.
scope of services and fee.
Mhm.
With PFM
Mhm.
Financial Advisors
Yep.
LLC. Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
I,
Anything else on the wastewater treatment facility? Okay. All right, let's move to departmental reports, town manager update, the financial report first, I guess.
Yep, financial report first.
Okay. Comments, questions?
I had those two minor modifications that we made to the revenues that I highlighted in the packet.
Mhm.
That's why those numbers have changed. Steve and I do need to do the detailed review of all the revenues.
Mhm.
Because we have to modify by September 1st. My plan would be to give you any proposed changes via email. And although I just said by September 1st, that's Labor Day. So if we do it at the September 3rd regular board meeting,
That's
Okay,
okay.
we will
all
modify
right, let's plan
the
then.
revenues and get the report in. Yes, ma'am.
No, it's the third.
They changed it.
The third and the 24th in September. If it's still saying
Was it
that,
not updated?
Did
It
I?
Still says, it says the 10th on the.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I did put 10
Oh, on the
on the
calendar?
agenda.
Oh.
On the agenda. Yes, sorry.
oh, right, no, it's 9/3, right.
Thought the last discussion was to move to the second and fourth of the month because of
No.
the proximity to Labor Day.
No, as we discussed it, we landed on
The 3rd
3
and the
September and the
24th.
24th of September. For our two meetings in September.
Yep.
I'll make that change.
All right,
9/3. 9/3 and
Any-
9/24.
Any questions on the financial report from the board?
Not for me.
Nothing, Dan?
Say that again, please.
Any questions on the financial report?
No, I do not at this point.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the department operations report.
So, highways, first, or public works first. Nothing really, they're continuing to try to fill their personnel vacancy. And, they're
Which
just
there's
doing.
one, right?
There's one, and, they are, continuing to work on primarily things like, roadside cleanup prior to, the fall, and trying to get the road signs back or in. A lot of branch trimming. We are gonna have some tree work, not only what's happening right now out at the golf course, but also in other spots. She'll be identifying some trees. We have branches up in the tops of trees that have broken. We need to get them down. They're a hazard, so we'll be working on that. And then the trash truck, they have done some minor repair work. Did not take it out of service for any length of time. They've been working on that. So,
Mark,
yeah,
I
Mhm.
noticed that there were some markings up Cascade Ridge Road. And I was
Marking.
wondering what that was about.
Oh, that is engineering, that's engineering work. They're, doing some initial surveys so that they can give us a quote for engineering, because that's the
The
next
next
set
one
of roads
after Boulder
for
and Snows.
2027.
Okay,
So that's our engineering firm,
Right.
putting together an estimate.
Just to
okay,
clarify,
okay, thank you.
Cascade Ridge Bean Bender, Lost Pass Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are.
Cascade, Bean Bender, and
And
Lost
Lost Pass.
Pass.
After we get done with Boulder and Snows
Yeah,
Mountain.
Yeah.
I have a question, DPW. So where do we stand on the dumpster enclosure plans?
she is getting an update, she's getting the updates, continuing to collect them. I'll bring the updated list in. She was off, out today, so we'll bring it in on the 3rd. We will have the complete list updated. We've received most of them. I think she has maybe 3 or 4 that have not responded yet.
So we'll have a
You'll
The
have the
discussion of the,
definitive list on the 3rd.
on the 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. The other DPW question I had is, Mark, do you want to just give an update of if there have been any developments on our meeting with the property owners next to the cemetery?
Yeah, so we had a good initial meeting with the owners. We will need a survey of both properties, both the abutters and the town cemetery lot.
Okay.
That we will plan on funding, doing a funding request for the 26 budget to get that survey work done. That has to be very detailed.
Okay.
Mostly because we're right at the national forest
Sure.
boundary.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we are very clear. But they were open to
They
the
were.
possibility of
Okay.
donating some land.
Nice.
This is to expand the footprint of the
Cemetery.
cemetery. Because we're at about 61% use right now. And so.
So they were open to the town acquiring the land, donation, sale, what have you. And we asked them if they can give us that first level decision, whether they can remain open in time for budget season.
Yeah.
This year.
So we'll
we haven't heard back from
budget,
them. Yeah.
no, we have not
Okay.
heard anything back, but I think that planning for the survey
Sure,
in 2026 is a good plan
Mhm.
sure.
going forward, because we're gonna need that no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
In the interim, Megan and the DPW crew will be in the cemetery area in September to do some drainage improvements. We have several of the plots that are being overgrown and have definite drainage issues. So we need to clear the rhododendron line on the uphill side. That needs to be cut back significantly, and we need to get some drainage in there. And then she will also do some work on the bottom side to
Mhm.
clarify each of the roads and the path. The downhill side will be minimal work until we get a definitive answer from the abutters,
Okay.
because they like to tie that
Of
into
course.
the new
Yeah.
land.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. we'll
Anything
work
else
on
for
that.
DPW?
Nothing else.
Any
for
questions
DPW.
from the board, DPW? Did you want to handle the departments, or since
No,
we
go
have
ahead.
them here, Brooke, why don't you tell us what's happening in rec? Or not happening now?
Well, you have the
Yeah,
right,
we have the
so.
summary.
Yeah, no, we have the write-up, but the highlights or something you wanna emphasize from the report.
We're in a big transition right now from completing camps. And having a successful year or summer with, our programs. Heading into the after-school, program time. School starts on Monday. And our program starts on Tuesday, the 6th, after the break. As well as, right now is a big planning time period, for the fall foliage foot race, which is coming up. Right now, we are looking for a beneficiary and, put in some a recommendation to Mark about that, and we'll let you know. And yeah, those are kind of the highlights of what's going on right now.
Great.
Any questions, Dan?
No,
Okay,
Ready.
Steve?
Well, I was gonna save Steve for
Okay.
last, so the other guys can go. Steve had to stay here.
So I unfortunately wasn't able to get a report in on time. I was out on Monday and.
So, anything
Okay.
to relate?
Yesterday, not in terms of operation, everything's going
Mhm.
smoothly. The only thing that I did want to make sure I brought up, especially at this point where about 2 weeks out from this, the work up on Bean Bender Road, we had that homeowner last winter.
Yeah.
Their service line freeze up multiple times. That work's going to take place the week after Labor Day.
Okay,
So I think that's the 8th week of the 8th.
Mhm.
So I just want to make sure I mention that. Again, that's going to be confined to basically just the very top portion of the cul-de-sac of Bean Bender Road. But just for the sake of mentioning it during this meeting.
okay. Any questions for Dylan? All right, Chief?
Just mentioning some work, I met with Dana, who's gonna be doing the, project for our floor drain.
Oh, the whole wall thing.
Yeah, he came and looked at it again, and he's estimating he should be here about the 3rd week of September. There may be a little bit of impact to the entrance to town hall. He's gonna work his hardest to keep that open. Do the first phase where we have to put in the tank and the separator. Before he does the line all the way across. We'll open that side up so people can still come in, but we'll coordinate with the town staff, and so hopefully, if there is an impact, he said it shouldn't be more than a couple days. But hopefully we'll work through that. Along, with a lot of the other chiefs around the state abandoning outside burning right now, just due to the high fire conditions. We shut off the permit system. I did send out, notices and notifications to everybody with permits. And through a notification system that, no outside burning till further notice. It looks like that we're getting some rain potentially on Monday, so, we can get back to normal then, but for the time being, no more burning. The U.S. Forest Service, because we have one of the fire guys staying in town, he did patrol Triple I Road and actually did find a fire, on
geez.
Monday.
Mhm.
And, it had gotten out from one of the fire rings, gone underground, and he was able to extinguish it. He had his 6-wheeler with his skid tank on it. So the equipment that he had but just goes to show you that that stuff is happening. There was a large, you probably heard in the news, fire alarm, fire in Ware. We were asked to, provide a strike team, just with staffing, we couldn't do that, but, it's everywhere across the state, so we're kind of just keeping an eye out. For that, other than that, we finished, finalized the hiring of Nicole Bascom as our new part-time public safety officer. Like I said, she just took her final on Monday for her EMT and she passed. So she'll be looking to do, her national registry. And the next step will be state licensing. And she also started the fire academy on Tuesday in Brumney. So if this all works out, it will be the first time ever that I've known that we have had a candidate that potentially could get all 3 certifications within a year,
Nice.
just because of the way the calendar lines up.
Yeah.
It's typically a 2.5-year process, but she's
Hit it just right.
one rolling it right into the next one. And when she finishes the fire academy, the police academy will starting in January. And come May, we would have a person already trained in all 3 disciplines, which as long as I've been here, that has never happened.
Wow. Well, fantastic.
So we're excited to have her. Amanda finished her final portion of the fire academy and successfully completed her level 1 this past weekend. So, other than that, any other questions on the?
Any comments on changes to the building code laws? Or do you want to,
Yeah,
is that
there
a
was.
separate discussion, take some time to
No,
talk about?
Yeah, I think we can handle it in-house here, as far as, some of those house bills, that have passed, and how we're going to handle them. You know, the one with the third party, inspections, it's still a pretty high standard. You know, they have to be detached, they have to be objective, and they have to be certified, either they're an architect, an engineer, or someone that carries an ICC certification for the type of inspections that they're doing. So we will develop a checklist. NHMA has put out a checklist that we will adopt. I don't think there needs to be many changes there, but in doing so, like I said, it's still a pretty big standard to meet. In order to do that, they would be paying somebody where, as part of their building permit fee, they already pay for us to
Do
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're not expecting major changes in the way we do things?
I'm really not expecting any major changes. If there is a project that really wants to do it, then I'm not gonna dedicate a ton of time to it because.
They have an independent.
Yeah. So,
The other question I had on state law changes have to do with the creation of these social zones.
yes.
Yeah. Could you comment on
So
that?
that was one that came up with, I think the advent.
Oh, it did?
It did, so the social districts in towns where they do not have a open
Open
container
container.
law.
Mm-hmm.
It is allowed any town to adopt these sip and stroll districts. So you can purchase a beverage in a bar, restaurant, anywhere that is a licensed facility, and consume that alcohol within that district and zone. It has to be signed, there's certain regulations, they have to be signed and all that. Where it gets into us is we're a little different, because you can consume alcohol, you know, in town. The only difference is, you can't take the restaurant's alcohol outside.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But now they can't.
but you
No.
can.
They cannot.
They cannot unless you,
Unless the town
unless the town
Adopts.
adopts
social
a
district.
social
Okay.
district, yes.
It also affects the operations at the ski resort. So there's two sites where I could see this coming in to help us quite a bit in our, the way that we operate is in Town Square, of course, but also at the ski resort, because we have to monitor even the travel of alcohol between T-bars and freestyle. That can't happen even, or even downstairs. So it does free up quite a bit of ability for us to make it a more open environment.
It's more, as far as we're concerned, it's more on the licensing side, which is not us.
Right.
You know, allowing that, because where we run into it, you know, in Town Square, we have people consuming alcohol outside anyway.
Yeah, we have an open,
Yeah, so I don't have any concerns with those districts. There were some considerations as far as, you know, the type of signage and being able to clearly define what those areas are. But I don't think it changes much, things for us very much.
Yeah.
Um,
I met with the liquor commissioner, as part of Ski New Hampshire, and he was very, he saw the need for this as, especially with all the outdoor dining that we're now doing.
Mhm.
And how it's very hard for a licensee to be able to monitor that outdoor dining and how it's, you know, going in between this outdoor dining and that outdoor dining area. Place,
Mhm.
not just here, but other places in most of the state, and they found that this might be a good way for us to allow for some relief of that when it's a social district, when it's an area that's designed for
Right.
this. So that was the background of that.
right,
Right now, it requires them to do an off-site license, basically, to serve alcohol that's not within contiguous of their business. So we have to go through all of those. And it would virtually eliminate that kind of permitting, and we have to write a liquor letter, we have to approve they have to have a specified area where they consume the alcohol. Having one of these districts eliminates that.
It also eliminates the need for the fences
Right.
around the dining areas, to eliminate that need also.
so do we need to change anything with regard to either our ordinance, zoning, or regulation?
We would have to have some language that would have to be adopted at town meeting to allow these
Social districts, that'd be a zoning change?
and where these.
Would-
Yeah.
Would it be a zoning issue or would it be our open container regulations?
And then straight to
I
town meeting?
believe the new statute has the language that we.
Yeah,
would
but where
adopt.
does it go though? Does it go in the zoning
Do
ordinance?
we need to
or
change our zoning
does it
ordinance, or do we
need
just?
to- Because
send to
those
town
are
meeting?
different and it's
Yeah.
important because it's whether it's a
Very.
warrant article for discussion and vote during the deliberative session. Or whether it
It's a
has
zoning-
to be a
a zoning
zoning
ballot.
amendment. Which happens on the ballot, has a different approval number, et cetera. So we just need to get an answer on that. We don't
Yeah,
have the
I
answer
don't know,
today.
but.
I
Yeah.
don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe
Yeah.
it's a selectman ordinance. I don't-
Okay, and if it is, then
Then-
that's.
then
I-
it
I-
simplifies
that's
it.
Yeah, and that's fine. We will need to start working on that to get language squared away. So we should look at that.
But we're reviewing all our ordinances anyway, right? So this could be added
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
select board ordinance review.
Mhm.
Okay, I have one more, and I don't know if my colleagues have any on it. Have you noticed, are there any changes yet with regard to ambulance billing or the procedures?
No, the governor signed the balance billing, law.
Mhm,
It goes into effect in January 1.
mhm.
We think it's a good thing, but as far as I understand it, it's only gonna be temporary. The state insurance department, you know, has a number, but basically the legislature said, you know, there was a disagreement on their percentage of the Medicare rate versus
Right,
what
I
the
remember
other
reading
rate
about
was.
that.
So what the law did was allow some time for the insurance department to really get a good picture and get better numbers to support a change in that percentage. But as of right now, it's 325%, I believe, of the Medicare rate.
Yep.
Which now stabilizes a lot and allows like our ambulance service to become a in-network provider for many of the insurance companies within the state. So there's no question of we're not gonna pay this because we're not an in-network
Yeah.
provider. Basically, if we provide emergency services, we're gonna be.
by
And,
definition.
and at 325%, there's no financial impact on us with our rates.
No,
We're,
no, our rates don't change. It's just guarantees.
yeah,
Right,
payment by the
Payment.
insurance company.
We should see
right.
less write-offs.
Mhm.
But the legally allowed rate is high enough so that the town doesn't have to
Worry
kick,
about.
worry about
Yes.
kicking funds.
Yes, whether we're getting
Okay.
partial bills or not paid at all, and it takes away the, where the insurance companies are paying the patients. And expecting the patients to pay
Right.
us,
Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
the insurance
Right.
companies are paying us directly now.
Yeah, so,
So,
Good.
which means many of the bills are gonna get paid.
Mhm.
Versus not.
Yep.
Not
Okay.
getting paid. I did submit an article to the Wigwag
oh, okay,
covering this,
great.
today, so in the next.
Should see it in a couple
of the
weeks.
Wigwag,
Yeah.
you should see it where I kind of break it down.
Mhm.
Excellent, great. Wendy, anything for Chief Noise? Dan, anything for DPS? Or code enforcement or Permit-
Not at this point.
okey doke? And that leaves Steve. on
Outside
the
of
admin side.
the report that I provided, the only thing that I think is noteworthy on there would be to talk about the space needs assessment.
Okay,
Town meeting 2025 approved a space needs assessment for a firm, hopefully to come in and take a look at our public safety facilities and our town hall operations and see how we could, potentially renovate the current space, add some new space, or kind of give us some options that we could work with. And we had, the first step of that process was I drafted an RFP that went out at the beginning of the month, to which the first step on that RFP was a site tour that was scheduled for Monday, the 18th, where we saw 6 interested parties come and be present at that site tour. Spent about a couple hours viewing both facilities, the ins and outs, the goods and bads, and gave them some time to ask questions to the town about what they saw during that site tour, to which we saw 3 of those vendors provide us with some questions, and answers were given on Tuesday, the 19th. The next step in the process would be to actually see some proposals, and that deadline is the 17th of September. We're hoping to
Good.
have groups for some proposals to put in front of you and to discuss.
great. Okay, anything else?
No,
Yeah.
that's it.
Right, anything further on town manager? All right, let's go ahead and move on to calendar review. Did, do you have anything to ask of Steve? No? Okay. So our next, regular board meeting is September 3rd. And, the second meeting in September, September 24th, as was earlier announced. We'll have a joint meeting with the select board and school board on the 25th over in the multi-purpose room. And the planning board is having a special meeting to continue their public hearing. Move into deliberations on the adventures zone application. That's Friday, 8 AM here. Anything else for calendar review? Anyone want to mention anything in terms of schedule issues or anything like that? Nothing? All right. Let's move on to ex officio reports. Wendy, would you like to talk about
Yeah,
yours?
so I had reached out and notified the town core working group members that we would just be on an as needed basis and not have our monthly regular meetings. And then for the MSW working group, that group as well as kind of taking a step back. We looked at the realities of the timeline of when a potential change, increase, whatever, to the transfer station or how we handle MSW could be realistically undertaken, and we realized it was probably 10 years in the future. And so we're probably jumping the gun a bit by doing a lot of planning. However, the idea was that we would meet every other month now, and the group would focus on paying attention to what different regulations are coming up from the state. Speak with our area representatives, just pay attention to what's happening with the landfill, and kind of, as we said, you know, nibble away at the edges, look at different ways to encourage food waste diversion, and explore the cost of single stream. We're supposed to have some information in advance of our next meeting in September, which I'll actually miss. And as far as the food waste diversion, I'm going to be kind of re-reviewing, if that's a word, the green cone and seeing if there's a way to bring to the select board a possible rebate or something that could work for folks, and how that type of application would go forward. I was going to just review what other towns have done.
So they're working?
Mine's working and
Mhm.
Rick's is working.
Great.
So, you know, out of a sample of 3, we have 2
2 out of 3?
working. So that's positive. And yeah, I think, did I forget something, Mark, there?
Nope.
I think you hit the 2. And is there anything other, and we have other beside ex officio reports, is there anything else you wanted to bring up?
I
point?
think everything was brought up. Let me see.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think I'd already mentioned to Mark the not maintained signs are still up, or maybe I mentioned it last meeting between on the Golden Eagle. That's what.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tina, Megan and I will have a meeting early next week,
Oh, okay,
Talk
for
about
railing and stuff.
the railings.
Nice.
great.
And she'll bring the drill and the bit. Take them down.
Yeah.
If I had a star bit, I would do it.
So as far as my ex officio reports, as you guys know, the select board will be represented at the upcoming public hearing, planning board public hearing this Friday. Other than that, the planning board will be turning to the somewhat daunting task of zoning change that'll need to be made to comply now with state law, in particular with ADUs, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's a special meeting scheduled for the 28th. I don't know if we have a time yet for that.
I
I
don't,
don't think we're with SE Group, helping us with zoning ordinance updates and master plan. Any updates we might have to the master plan. So those are also coming toward us this fall. I mentioned the select board, school board joint meeting. And we will generate, I mean, think about it as whatever topics Mark can serve as the central point as always to see what the board would like to talk the school board about.
Yeah.
Including what the rec department and each rec department would like to raise in that. As far as other, the only thing I have is I have an idea. It's actually given to me. I think it's a great idea. I will not say that it's my idea, but it sounds to me that a very good idea to have a sign as you enter town. I'm not sure what that means, enter town, whether it's down by the bridge or by Triple I Road or up near the sign we have now. It says welcome to Waterville Valley, but we do have, it's cited in one of the hiking manuals. I mean, a real Bible, that the first organized trail system in the United States is Waterville Valley.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that we should consider a sign for. I'm not sure where we put it, but not looking at anything particularly extensive, but I think just a sign that says that home of the first organized hiking trail system in the United States.
Yeah.
So if you guys are okay with that, I think I ask town staff to look at that, see what kind of sign, where they think it would be good to have. That work? Everyone okay with that?
Do we add it to an existing sign?
I
You know, the
don't-
one off as you're
Well,
coming
that's
into
what-
town, or?
Yeah, I mentioned that one as, yeah, I don't know how you would add it to it.
Right.
But something near that one could be, potential, or
Or the birthplace of freestyle skiing.
it could be near that, oh, that's kind of, it's all crunched in there a little bit, you get a lot of signs in a row,
Yeah.
you get a
Well,
couple signs, and then you get that radar.
You need both National Forest and state DOT.
Well, then we wanted,
approval.
maybe it would be easier just to do it on town land, once we get right into town.
True.
And we could do it by that sign that's there, up in the water, as long as we don't go extend into the forest land a
Could we?
little bit. Yeah, no, I mean, that's
We're-
that's town land.
No,
It's not.
it's
All of
an
that?
easement to the National Forest from the center of the road. to the-
At that point, it
At
still
that
is an easement, okay, but it goes up a little, then it cuts
After
in.
Tecumseh Road.
That far back, that easement?
That easement goes almost to Tecumseh Road. It goes to the
All right.
visitor center.
Well, we got the other side of the road too, right? Town property. The other side could be possible. Anyway, something to
Yep,
think about.
we'll look at it.
We'll look at it.
There's a couple of options that we have.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to recognize that. That's all I had. Dan, did you have anything for board concerns and directives?
Just, I reported to Mark about a sign we had that was named, misspelled. That caused a stir around town,
I think we all are.
with a lot of humorous things.
Most.
And that's being replaced, so that's good. We just need to take a little care there. So,
All right. Also, I should say that everything went very well yesterday at the dedication of what's now the Birdie and David Britton Community Recreation area, or
area.
center area.
will there be an article in the Wigwag on that?
I believe so.
Representation
Yeah,
there.
Okay.
paper there. I think they're gonna.
Two out of
I'm
the
sorry I
three.
couldn't be there. I've been,
Yeah,
Not
I'm
well.
hoping that we make it.
yeah. No, they were taking pictures and whatnot, so I'm sure we'll see something. Okay, move on to correspondence. I think we already dealt with Mike Fergel's email about the speed board, so that brings us to Margaret Turner's emails. And
Well, they were actually texts. I'm sorry, that was a typo. She texted with you. There
Right.
were no emails.
That's right. Right, it was actually, that's right, it would texted me, and I wrote, I think she may have gotten in contact with you directly
Mhm.
too. On the real estate sign that is up at Tea House and Boulder Path. We should have been more specific when we approved that sign. It should have only been for, I think, an open house, because I think we can claim that as a directional sign.
Yes.
If it's open house and it's only for the day. But the way we presented it to the applicant, he was able to put a real estate sign up that said for sale and then under contract. I believe today is the last day of the second 2-week period. Is that correct?
Yes.
So the offending sign should be gone after today. But the issue there is, we've been at this now for several hours, but I don't think there's a problem if we're willing to consider an open house sign as a directional sign because it'll have an arrow on it, then we have the ability as a select board to approve or not that sign in a town right of way. Otherwise, such signs are not allowed. I think we just have to be more clear about that in the future. I think that will get us out of this conundrum. If we consider open house signs to be directional, otherwise, open
Well,
house
it-
signs would not be allowed.
I think it's something that the planning board needs to
Clarify,
address
maybe?
because,
Yeah, because,
because we are not allowed to say anything about the
Content,
content.
right.
yes,
But a directional sign does imply that it should provide
Directions,
directions.
right,
So either a description like next left or whatever, or an arrow. And that needs to be put into the ordinance because we can't enforce it right now, really. That sign, whether it was a birthday celebration ahead or
Right.
a realty sign, is really irrelevant to us. We allowed a private sign in the public right of way,
right,
which we can do.
right,
And Margaret was right, a private sign like that is not allowed on private property if it's in LDR or HDR.
correct.
So those things are, she was correct in those texts
Right.
and phone calls, but we gotta figure out what we can and can't say in the
Right.
messaging of the sign, because we're not allowed by state
Right.
law to say anything
About
about
the
that.
content,
Yeah.
the
And
historical,
content.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and the zoning is, I don't know if vague is the right word, but it makes it sound like anyone could put a sign up for 14 days under general requirements for temporary signs.
Yeah.
I
With
mean,
board approval.
With board approval,
In the
yes,
public
Right,
right
and
of-
that's what we did,
Exactly,
but
yeah,
I think at the
exactly.
time, we were thinking about your standard, at least I was incorrectly, about your standard open house sign, because historically, we've allowed open house signs. And I'm trying to say that if we consider that a directional sign, then we can do it without a change, otherwise we'll need a zoning amendment, and then what is that zoning amendment going to be?
Yeah, but even in the general requirements in the zoning, it doesn't say anything about directional. It just,
Oh, I thought it
it
did.
says, no, temporary displayed for 14 days. Not exceed 9 square feet.
Oh, right, but if you go down to, I think if you go down to the,
Right, but I'm just saying, like, if someone's reading this,
right,
they would think, well, under number
Right.
6, there's
is
professionally
there
lettered.
like a list A through J of signs? Signs
Yes.
that the,
It's after,
Locations.
no, on page 33 of the copy, page 33, after the,
Sure, yeah,
after the table.
yeah,
J, temporary directional signs are permitted. If possible, the sign should be added to an existing sign. Temporary signs are limited to 9 square feet.
right, but that's,
and I think you go down to J. So I don't have
yeah,
it up in front
no,
of
no,
me.
it's fine. So we have then that's under regulations for directional signs.
On public property, including road right of way.
But you're looking at temporary
Looking
signs
at 6.
before the table.
Under number 6, general
Right.
requirements for temporary signs.
Right,
And it just, I could see how there'd be a lot of confusion.
Yep.
Confusion.
Yep.
For people.
yeah, no, we could,
And I
We can
was,
pull it
I
up.
was utilizing,
Zoning.
when we got this request, we were utilizing number 6.
Yeah,
Can't say anything about the message.
right,
Yeah.
It was a temporary sign.
right.
right. So we just allowed it because we permitted it, so that was the fair thing to
Because
do.
it was in the public right of way.
It was in the
We did
public
not
right of
make
way.
The one that was on private property.
Right, we
Correct.
did deny that one.
Right.
Yep.
And we have that authority under directional signs if you consider
Right.
it to be direct. All right, well, then if you guys, Dan,
I think it
if you
should be
want to go
taken
to a
the
zoning,
planning board.
Yes.
then that'll be another zoning
Yeah.
issue
Thank you.
to bring to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will do that,
Thank you.
Yep.
and we'll not do that again.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it does put us, if we're looking at a potential zoning clarification / amendment, what do we do for, until that is approved? with regard to open house signs.
Well, I don't see any reason why you couldn't take it on a case-by-case basis under number 6. It's a temporary sign. If it meets all of these 4 criteria, you can allow it.
And that's not gonna go over well, I
Well-
think, in the community, but real estate signs on LDR and HDR.
Well, as soon as the planning board fixes it, then it goes
Well,
into effect.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
you
It's
just
got-
deny them until.
No, we
then.
would, well, that's what
You know,
we'd end
it's
up,
up to you.
because we're not
You'll
gonna give them
take
an
it
open
on a
house.
case-by-case basis.
all right. We got real estate folks on one side and people who don't want real estate signs on the other, trying to thread that needle, but I guess I wasn't successful. Okay. I think that's it. It's time to go and you still need non-public, I believe.
Just a couple of minutes.
All right.
It should not be long.
Oh. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Tim, glad to see you here. Yes, you too.
Thank you, Tim.
Do I have a motion to go into non-public for
Hey,
reasons
Bill,
of
you hold on.
personnel and negotiations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Right?
aye.
While you're coming off, I'm just going to use the facilities here. You guys can start.